Dear friends, hello and welcome to my show. Today, let me take you some 40 to 50 years back and into the domain of sea and sharks. Yes, I'm talking of Jaws. Dosto, this novel was written way back in the year 1974 by an American writer, Peter Benchley. And it tells the story of a great white shark that preys upon a small resort and the voyage of three men trying to kill it. So it's a super adventure. The novel emanates out of Benchley's interest in shark attacks after he learned about the exploits of shark fisherman Frank Mundus in 1964. Doubleday are the publishers commissioned him to write this particular novel in 1971, a period when Benchley worked as a freelance journalist. The book was a great hit, stayed in the bestseller list for about 44 weeks. The novel was later adapted into a very fine film produced by Richard Zanuck and David Brown at Universal Pictures. The story is set in Amity, a seaside resort town on Long Island, New York. But before I enter the plot, let me describe in brief the characters to you because it's a very fast-moving story as there are some 13 characters in this. So friends, kindly listen to their names very attentively. We begin with Chrissy Watkins. She's the young lady tourist killed by the shark. Then next we have Martin Brody. He is the police chief of Long Island. Then we have Larry Vaughn. He is the mayor of the island. Then you have Harry Meadows. He happens to be the editor of the local newspaper. Then you have Alex Kintner. Alex Kintner, young boy, again killed by the shark. Then there is Ben Gardner. He happens to be the local fisherman. Then you have Leonard Hendricks. He is the deputy police chief. Then there is a person by the name of Matt Hooper. He is a marine biologist and also the younger brother of David Hooper. Ellen Brody. Ellen Brody is the wife of Brody, who is the cop. David Hooper is the man whom Ellen used to date earlier. Quint, a professional shark hunter, and last we have is Orca. Now Orca is no human being but is the name of the boat, and this boat name is derived out of a killer whale. So one night a massive great white shark kills a young tourist named Chrissy Watkins while she skinny dips. By skinny dips I mean swimming nude in the open waters. So the shark comes and kills this girl who's swimming nude. After finding the remains of a body washed up on the beach, the investigators realize she was attacked by a shark. Police Chief Martin Brody orders closure of Amity Beach, but the mayor Larry Vaughn and the town's selectmen, by selectmen I mean the important officials. So the town selectmen and Larry Vaughn overrule the cop, that is Brody, out of fear for damage to summer tourist season, which is the town's main industry. So they think that if we close the beach, we are going to lose on the industry. So they overrule the cop. So with the connivance of Harry Meadows, the editor of the local newspaper, they hush up the attack. So now all these important officials and the mayor, with the help of this editor, they kind of hush up the case. But as it happens, God has his own ways. After a few days later, the shark kills a young boy named Alex Quintana, and thereafter an old man not far from the shore. A local fisherman, Ben Gardner, is sent by Amity's authorities to kill the shark, but he too disappears in the water. Broody and his deputy Leonard Hendricks find Gardner's boat anchored offshore, empty and with a large bite holes, one of which has a massive shark tooth stuck on it. Blaming himself for these deaths, Broody again tries to close the beaches, while Meadows this time investigates the mayor's business contacts only to determine why he wants to keep the beaches open. So this editor is clearly smelling a rat in all this. Meadows uncovers the mayor's links with the mafia, who pressurize Vaughan to keep the beaches open in order to protect the value of Amity's real estate, in which the mafia has invested a great deal of money. Meadows, in the meanwhile, recruits a marine biologist by the name of Matt Hooper from the Woods Hole Institute to advise them on how to deal with the shark. Meanwhile, Broody's wife Ellen starts missing the affluent life she once had before marrying Broody and having children. She starts a romantic relationship with Matt Hooper, the marine biologist, who also happens to be the younger brother of David Hooper, a man Ellen used to date earlier. And the two have a brief affair in a motel outside the town. Throughout the rest of the novel, Broody suspects Ellen and Matt to be having a relationship and is continuously haunted by these nasty thoughts. With the beaches still open, people pour into the town because there is a lot of publicity, hoping to glimpse the killer shark. Broody sets up patrols to track the fish. After a boy narrowly escapes another attack close to the shore, Broody puts his foot down, he closes the beaches and hires Quint, a professional shark hunter, to kill the shark, after which Broody, Quint and Hooper set out on Quint's vessel, the name of which is Orca. But the trio are soon at odds with one another. Quint's methods anger Hooper, especially when he disembowels, or you could say he cuts open a blue shark and then uses an illegally fished, unborn lady dolphin for bait. All the while, Quint taunts Hooper as a rich college boy when Hooper refuses to shoot at beer cans with them. Broody and Hooper also argue as Broody's suspicion about Hooper's possible affair with Ellen grows stronger. At one point, Broody unsuccessfully even attempts to strangle Hooper. So these three are now in the sea. Their first 2 days at the sea are unproductive, although they come in contact with the shark by the end of the second day. Upon seeing it for the first time, Hooper estimates the animal must be at least 20 feet long and is visibly excited and in awe at the size of it. Meanwhile, Mayor Larry Vaughan arrives at Broody's house before Broody returns home and informs Ellen that he and his wife are leaving Amity. But before he leaves, he tells Ellen that he always thought they would make a great couple. After he leaves, Ellen reflects that her life with Broody is much more fulfilling than any life she might have had with Vaughan, and feels somewhat guilty for her prior thoughts of missing the life she had before marrying Broody. So after seeing the size of the shark on the third day, Matt Hooper wants to bring along a shark-proof cage, or you can say a kind of a big pinjra that you may call in Hindi, to help the photos of it, to help take some photos of the shark and then use it to try and kill it with a bang stick. Now, bang stick is a firearm used underwater. So I'm relating these terms to you so that you're very close to the effect of the book. So they use the bang stick and under the water. Now initially Quint refuses to bring the cage on board, even after Hooper's offer of $100, because Quint is the owner of the boat. So Hooper's offer of $100, considering it a suicidal idea, but he relents later after Hooper and Broody get into a big argument. So finally he allows these people to get the pinjra into the boat. Later that day, after several unsuccessful attempts by Quint to harpoon the shark with a long spear-like instrument, Hooper goes underwater and into the shark cage, where shark attacks the cage, something Hooper did not expect it would do, and after ramming the bars apart, kills and eats Hooper. Broody in the meantime informs Quint that the town can no longer afford to pay him to hunt the shark, but Quint no longer cares about the money and resolves to continue until he has killed it. When they return to sea the following day, the shark starts ramming the boat. Quint is able to harpoon it several times. The shark leaps out of the water and onto the stern of the Orca, the boat, ripping a huge hole in the aft section, that is the rear stern of the boat, thereby causing the boat to start sinking. Quint plunges another harpoon into the shark's belly, but as it falls back into the water, his foot gets unfortunately gets entangled in the rope, and he is dragged underwater to his death by the shark. Broody, now floating on the seat cushion, spots the shark swimming towards him and prepares for his death. Now friends, all these actions are terrific in the movie, and also in the book it's been described in great detail. So just in case you've not read this book, you missed something out in life. So the shark now is about to come very close to Broody. So Broody starts preparing for his death, thinking that there is no way out, he can save himself. But man proposes, God disposes. Just as the shark gets within a few feet of him, just as the shark gets a few feet of Broody, it succumbs to its many wounds and rolls over in the water and dies before it can kill Broody. The great fish sinks down out of sight, dragging Quint's still entangled body behind it. So the lone survivor of the ordeal is Broody. So Broody finally paddles back to the shore in his makeshift float. So friends, all of this happens in just a couple of days, or maybe a week's time or so. So it's a very fast moving story, and it's an excellent book both in terms of storyline and even in narration, where the author has quite vividly described the action scenes with perfect vocabulary, which is not easy and which is rather painstaking. It leaves a spine-chilling impact on you. You start hating sharks, or rather you get scared of sharks. I would give the book 8 out of 10. So friends, that's all I have for today. If you've liked my show, kindly share it. Also press the like icon. Also subscribe our channel by pressing the red icon, and don't forget to press the bell so that you are notified each time we upload a video. And for now, goodbye and see you soon.